Uh-oh. Hey, guys, what's up? Mute that there. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday. What's up, Ted Cruz? It is indeed 9/11. Never forget. Obviously, my prayers go out to the families of those lost in that tragedy. And I immediately think of Norm Macdonald, but reminds me of that tragedy. No, but yeah, it's crazy. What has it been, like 23 years since that happened? Insane. Insane. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys took some time just to remember and think about the people lost in that act of terrorism. And whether you think it was an inside job or not, still disgusting. Still awful. But we've got some stuff we'll look into today. We got some topics we can talk about. If you're new to the show and you enjoy it, make sure to like and subscribe. We're on YouTube and Rumble. Currently, we are on X. In fact, I should probably make sure that we're running fine on X. Let me open that up. I was not online yesterday, simply because I was watching the debates. It was a doozy. I was contemplating if I would stream it or not, but ultimately in the end I decided not to. Just because I'd be too distracted. Made some tweets, but other than that. But we are here. We are good to go. So let's hop into it. If you're, like I said, if you're new to the show and you enjoy it, make sure to hit that subscribe. We're on YouTube and Rumble and X. Help boost up that algorithm. Turn on notifications to get notified when I go live, whether that's this show or game streaming. You can always hang out. You can shoot the breeze there. Of course, I got my locals membership subscription tiers if you want to go beyond just pushing the algorithm. Humbled and blessed regardless of your decision. Just appreciate you guys hanging out. Alrighty. Well, this one's kind of like the big main one we'll read about. So, man. Oh, I really wish I didn't break my collarbone. Oh, my clavicle, really. But we'll get to that other one here. Let's switch over to Video Game Chronicles. So I saw this. Apparently, Konami confirms Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 is considering how to handle the really big titles. So it's going to be a little while before we get a clear picture, says Konami producer. Okay. So Konami has said it is working on the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2, but that it's in the process of figuring out how to handle ports of the really big titles in the series. So during the second episode of Konami's Metal Gear Production Hotline series of live shows, series producer Noriaki Okamura was asked what was happening with regards to the second part of the compilation series, which began last year with Metal Gear Solid 1 Collectors, or Master Collection Volume 1. We had HD ports of Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3. I'm sorry, but Metal Gear Solid 1 was not HD. That was just the PlayStation version. I mean, it could have been ported to be upscaled a little bit, but by all means was that not an HD, like, remaster. But then again, it says ports. I still wish that they would remaster Metal Gear Solid 2. Or not 2, 1, excuse me. Like, I wish they would remake that one, because that's what everyone wanted. And I'm not talking about Twin Snakes. I enjoyed Twin Snakes. Not a lot of people did. So it's unfortunate, but I think that's still something to be desired. and I think a lot of people would like it. So we had HD ports of 1, 2, and 3, or sorry, not really for 1. See, even he knew. See, even he knows that Metal Gear Solid 1 HD ports is not really what it means. But the other two, Okamura said, but most of the titles released after those don't have a pre-existing HD port we could use. Some are in HD, but those would all be really big titles. That comes with its own set of issues. So with all these factors to consider with the lineup, anything along the lines of what's in it or questions like how long will it be in development, when it'll be out, it's going to be a little while until we can get a clear picture. But when we do, we'll let you know here. So we called the first one Volume 1. So now we're making Volume 2. That much is for sure. We're also worried about how Volume 1 had a pretty rough launch with all the issues. So we're going to do everything we can not to repeat that, but we just have to ask for everyone to give us time. Well, I think a lot of people were asking that we could get a sweet remake of Metal Gear Solid 1. As much as I love Snake Eater, and I'm definitely interested as long as they stay true to everything with Metal Gear Solid Delta Eater, or Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Delta, or whatever they call it. I really want Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. Nintendo is never going to give up Twin Snakes. Recently, Okamura acknowledged that Metal Gear Solid 4 is still only playable on the PS3 over 15 years after its release. Hey, what's up, Komanga? I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4. That might... I mean, there is PlayStation 3 emulation. So it could be possible if you have a good gaming rig, you could just emulate it. So that could go that route. As I'm yawning. Sorry. References to Metal Gear Solid 4, Metal Gear Solid 5, and Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker were found in the files of Master Collection Volume 1. Currently, Metal Gear Solid 5 is playable on modern platforms thanks to its release on PS4, Xbox One. However, should Metal Gear Solid 4 and Peace Walker come to modern platforms, it would mark the first time in history that Metal Gear Solid 4 was playable outside of its native platform. So at one point during its development, Guns of the Patriot was, quote, running beautifully and smoothly on 360, according to its assistant producer. So there you go. There's your Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 2 update. I always contemplated getting the HD collection, but really I have all the games already. And plus, I mean, you can emulate stuff if you wanted to. So another article here on Video Game Chronicle. PS5 Pro, yes, everybody is talking about how garbage the PS5 Pro is. So, according to this, it's off-puttingly expensive, but here's why it still sells out. Oh, yes, please, explain to me. Explain to me why I need to drop $700, then what? Then plus 70 or 80 for the disc reader, and then, you know, if you want to pay it all at once, 100 and like what, 50 for the online stuff? Yeah, please tell me why I should pay all that. While many are balking at the pricing point, online hype in GTA 6 will ensure it still finds an audience. That's a stretch. Oh, this is an opinion piece, so I guess we'll go ahead and hear about it. So in the Kratos profile pictures, think you've gone a bit too far. You may have gone a bit too far. This week, Sony introduced to the world the worst kept secret in gaming, the PlayStation 5 Pro. Since word first emerged of the mid-gen refresh, most of the conversation had been centered around one thing, the price. The perpetual economic bin fire that is planet Earth meant that those with their sensible hats on were predicting a pretty steep increase from the standard PlayStation 5, which itself has seen price increases around the world. However, few could have predicted the collective intake of breath when Sony's PlayStation technical presentation concluded with a dazzling blue screen informing viewers of the PlayStation 5 Pro cost of $700, a price to make even Kazuhira blush. There it is. I cannot believe that. That is insane. That's crazy. What was the PS3 though? The PS3 back in the day was expensive, like 600, 500. So subtly buried in a PlayStation blog post was the news that if you'd like the honor of your 700 pounds, I guess, console not crashing to earth, you'll have to pay extra for the stand. Oh, wow, really? Got a load of physical PS5 games? That'll be another $99. Well, I got a lot of PS4. That's why I'd probably just get the earlier disc reader. When the dust had settled and people had been treated for shell shock, I was left with one question. Who is this for? I use the PS5 more than most people on planet Earth. Since my review unit turned up in late 2020, it's been on for multiple hours per day, every day. I also have a fancy TV that I paid for. I don't care about what you paid for, per se. 700 G's. Yep. He says he bought all that stuff because he wants games running at their absolute peak of performance. The PlayStation 5 Pro is designed for me, and yet even I'm not sold. Improvements to old games are great, but they are all games I've rinsed. Sure, it'll mean that by the time I come to playing Death Stranding 2 and GTA 6, it'll look amazing. But right now, I wasn't exactly sprinting out to my local game station to stick a $5 down for one. PS6 is going to be expensive. I know. PS6. Man, can you guys imagine when PS6 comes around? Be absolutely insane. However, good idea or not, PlayStation 5 will find its audience. Research firm Ampere Analysis expects PS5 Pro sales to reach a similar level to the PS4 Pros. Maybe. So this suggests there's plenty of people out there seeking PS5 Pro content. Probably overlap with people who already read gaming media. What does reading gaming media have to do with thinking they're going to get a PS5? I'm reading this right now, and I'm not going to grab the PS5 Pro. There's also prior evidence of premium PlayStation products selling well, even when it was suggested they may struggle. As GameIndustry.biz pointed out, PlayStation Portal is the #1 accessory by revenue this year in the UK, and the DualSense Edge is #2 controller despite being $200. Oh gosh. Let's look outside of hardcore gaming bubble. Game journalists on X are not a useful arbiter of how real people feel about games. What is a useful arbiter is my 7-a-side football group chat in my local corner shop. So I asked, oh my gosh. All right, this is starting to... Dang it. I should have looked to make sure that this was like not an opinion piece, but a news article. You know what? I'm done with this one. Dang it. I should have noticed that was an opinion piece. I did have this one pulled up, the Xbox bringing back friend request, even though they literally just shut down the 360. We can read that and we can check that one out. I just thought it was funny. Microsoft will begin testing a new friends and followers experience this week. The feature will last... Microsoft had announced plans to bring back friend requests on Xbox. The feature was last used during the 360 generation before being replaced with a social media style follower system on the One in 2013. An updated friends and followers experience will be made available this week to Xbox Inside members on the Alpha Skip Ahead ring on consoles and to users who signed up to the PC gaming preview on PCs and handheld devices. They'll be able to test that it's working as intended before its rollout to all players. We're thrilled to announce the return of friend requests. Now you can easily send, accept, or delete friend requests, making it simpler to connect with others, Microsoft said. Friends are now a two-way invite approved relationship, giving you more control and flexibility. Ah, yes. Remember back in the day when you just had LAN parties and that's when your true friends came, not your online acquaintances? Honestly, who really uses friend requests anymore? Like on Facebook, I still have people sitting in my friend requests because I hardly use Facebook and I'm just like, I don't care. You know, I think of friend requests and I just think of Facebook, like back in the day before it got insane. Other than that, like, unless you're on X and you're worrying about your follower account, I guess, who cares? Meanwhile, following someone remains a one-way connection, allowing you to stay updated with their shared content, whether it's another player, club, or game. Existing friends and followers will update automatically, so players will remain friends with people who had previously also added them as a friend, while continuing to follow anyone who hadn't. On consoles, players will be able to manage their friends and followers by opening up the Xbox guide, heading to the People tab. From there, they'll be able to view existing friends, accept or delete new requests, or find other players and send requests of their own. Microsoft launched the new Xbox Pass Standard plan this week. The service's latest membership tier includes access to back catalog of hundreds of games and online console multiplayer, but no day one first-party releases or cloud gaming. Yep. We read an article on the past on how they're adding more different Xbox Game Pass tiers. Yeah, friendship, that SpongeBob thing, that SpongeBob rainbow. Imagination. Yeah, but obviously the goal is for you to buy the most expensive tier because that's going to be the one that has everything that you would want. So replacing now the retired Game Pass for console tier, the standard plan is available for $15 a month. Garbage. Wait, PS5 version of Palworld listed by Tokyo Game Show organizer. That's funny. Well, there you go. If for some reason on Xbox you just desperately missed the friend requests, they're now coming back. So you can jump for joy about that one. They're now coming back. So you can jump for joy about that one. All right. So next. So as with, it being 9/11 and all, a lot of people are passing away. Obviously, we've got James Earl Jones, sorry. Earls, as a throwing an S on there for no reason. The echo. The galaxy mourns, and this comes from Bounding into Comics, as legendary Star Wars and Conan the Barbarian star James Earl Jones passes away at 93. I enjoyed him on Sandlot. Of course, he was Star Wars, Field of Dreams. So the world feels a little emptier now that legendary actor James Earl Jones is no longer in it. His agent, Barry McPherson, confirmed to ABC News that the legendary Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award winner had become one with the Force on Monday morning while surrounded by loved ones at his home in Dutchess County, New York. He made it to 93 years of age. Not a bad run at all. Did it actually say what he passed away from? Maybe it will later. So James Earl Jones was born on January 17th, 1931 in Arcabotula, Mississippi. In an almost cosmic twist of irony, he had a stuttering problem as a kid. I knew about that. It was a teacher in high school who noticed his talent for writing poetry and encouraged him to read his work aloud. Not only did this send him down the spotlighted path of the thespian side, but it helped cure his stutter, and some might argue a little too well. After serving in the military and just barely avoiding the Korean War, First Lieutenant Jones made his Broadway debut in the late 1950s and was active in New York's Shakespeare in the Park program. In 1964, gave a tremendous performance as the title character in Othello before going on to deliver his breakthrough performance as boxer Jack Jefferson in the 1966 Broadway drama The Great White Hope. So in 1964, Jones would make his film debut portraying the B-52 bombardier, Lieutenant Lothar Zog in Stanley Kubrick's dark comedy masterpiece, Dr. Strangelove. See, I didn't know that. That's cool. From there, he would take on a few bit parts in The Comedians and The End of the Road before being invited to reprise his role as Jack Jefferson in the 1970s film adaptation of The Great White Hope, for which he would go on to receive an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, the second African-American performer to ever do so after Sidney Poitier. And then in 1977, Jones would land arguably the most iconic role of his entire career, being brought in to do the voice of Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader, for the blockbuster space opera Star Wars: A New Hope, after director George Lucas found himself unhappy with how the character's physical director, David Prowse, sounded in costume. Yeah, have you guys seen the behind the scenes of how David Prowse sounded like? Not good. Not good, unfortunately. Kind of funny, really, but good decision choice of hiring Jones. So shockingly enough, Jones asked not to be credited in his work on the first two installments during their original theatrical runs. However, by the time Return of the Jedi, he had finally realized that it was his destiny to embrace the role and own it until the end of time. And then from a young man who stuttered to one of the most recognizable voices in history, Jones's powerful basso profundo rolled across stages and cinemas with an authoritative rumble that commanded the undivided attention of his audience. So then, in addition to the above roles, the actor would go on to lend his imitating yet enthralling presence to many an unforgettable character, including the evil snake sorcerer Thuthsala Doom in Conan the Barbarian, King Jaffe Joffer in Coming to America, Mr. Myrtle in The Sandlot, and King Mufasa in The Lion King. Oh, that's cool. And he was apparently in Command and Conquer, according to that little title for that picture. The public outpouring of online grief at his passing came faster than light speed, excuse me. I said the speed of light, kind of the same thing. Well, maybe not. I don't know. With one of the first to say goodbye being his fictional son, Mark Hamill. And this is what he wrote. Rest in peace, Dad. Over in New York, the Empire State Building gives the ultimate tribute by turning its lights Sith red and projecting an image of Lord Vader across the skyscraper exterior. That's cool. Rest in peace, Lord Vader. Rest in peace, King. May the Force be with you, and may it be with us all. Yeah, that's crazy. You know, a lot of people are, unfortunately, a lot of the legends passing away. And it just goes to show how fragile we are as human beings, that we are in a tabernacle, or oikotarian, as the scripture says, that isn't made for this world. This is just a small piece of what we can have, as long as you accept the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Which I hope people do, but, that's your decision. But yeah, just sad. But rest in peace, James Earl Jones. You were awesome. Hopefully, see you on the other side. So this article I also found interesting, and that is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle creative director, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle creative director says games makes sure to, quote, not encourage gunplay because it wouldn't be true to the character. Now, anybody who knows Indiana Jones should immediately find this hilarious, because one of the biggest jokes of Indiana Jones is the fact of the scene in, I believe, Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the one bad guy does some sword playing maneuvers to intimidate Jones, and he just pulls out his gun and shoots him. And Harrison Ford, I believe, had food poisoning that day, so he had this whole fight action sequence with that guy, and because he was sick, he's like, I have a gun, can I just pull it out and shoot him? Not to mention in other Indiana Jones games, like, he uses a pistol, and plus his father, Sean Connery, they're on a plane and they're using like the Gatling gun on the plane. This is absolutely ridiculous. So according to the game's creative director, Axel Trevenius, while Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will allow players to pick up and pick off enemies with a variety of guns, the team at Machine Games took special care to, quote, not encourage this method this method of play because, in their opinion, such a depiction would not be, quote, true to the hero's character. Dude, come on. Like what? You're going to, deduct points or something if people like snipe, like if you have them snipe people? Oh my gosh, so dumb. It's coming to the PS5. Oh boy. Trevenius, whose ongoing tenure with said developer, has seen him previously serve as the art director on all their Wolfenstein series, The New Order, The Old Blood, The New Colossus, Cyberpilot, and Youngblood, revealed this detail regarding Dr. Jones's upcoming adventure during a recent interview with Edge Magazine's Jesse Vitelli. We do not encourage gunplay, explained the game's creative director. It's not being pushed as the primary way forward. The primary way forward is always trying to use your wits and your whips. Except Indiana Jones never really fought anybody with his whip. Granted, there are video games out there, like, for example, what is it? Indiana Jones, Super Indiana Jones Legends for the Super Nintendo. Like, you can whip people, but he punched people a lot. He punched people. Like, remember when all the bad guys like had guns and Indiana Jones just ran in there with a gun of his own, but instead said, I need to take these guys out using my whip and my fist instead? Just room full of bad guys with guns. Just runs in there. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm glad that the option's still there, but this just doesn't make any sense, really. Why would you not have a gun with you? And why would you not use it? As to why they did not wish to portray the archaeologist as a full-blown gunslinger, he argued that his team's decision was based on the fact that, simply put, Indy doesn't have superpowers. That makes no sense whatsoever. What does using a gun have to do with superpowers? Very often you can tell that it's not easy for him to be in a fight, he explained to his host. At the end of the day, he's a teacher and a somewhat clumsy archaeologist. He just happens to have this passion that puts him in these weird situations constantly with enemies and traps. That doesn't mean he just doesn't know how to do stuff. Like, for heaven's sakes, does he go out of his way to, like, go to the gun range and, like, practice his shooting? Who knows? Maybe. But he at least still knows how to use a gun. I bet you they're probably... what they're going to do in order for you to discourage you to use guns is that you can try, like, the aiming mechanism is probably going to be absolutely garbage or something. He's probably going to be like all wobbly and all this stuff. That's probably what they're going to do. And they're going to and possibly make it very, very bad. It wouldn't be true to the character to have him constantly shoot camps from all enemies constantly, and the team at Machine Games wants to emphasize the danger level. We've been trying to capture that sense that if you need to engage in combat, it's very dangerous to be shot at. It's also very dangerous to shoot at enemies because they will have an alarm system and reinforcements coming in. Well, okay. Jumping off of his colleague's notes, Jerk, oh my gosh. Game director, or is it Jerk? Or Yerk? Yerk Gustafsson, who is also being interviewed alongside Trenovinus, further detailed, we have a game where there's plenty of guns in there, but you choose not to use them because it's too loud and it's too dangerous. You can pick up a gun and switch it to use a melee weapon, then why even pick up the gun? Why you literally just said, yeah, we have guns in there, but just switch to the melee weapon. Just don't even just have guns. Make it to where Indiana Jones just can't pick up a gun in the game. This makes me think of what they've done to Lara Croft. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Notably, this is not the first insight revealed regarding the narrative direction of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. That's a very in-character use of a gun for Indiana Jones. Per the game's senior narrative designer, Edward Curtis Sivis, as detailed during the 24 Xbox Dev Direct, the Great Circle is being viewed by Machine Games as, quote, a chance to tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern game audience. Well, right there, that just tells you that it's going to fail. Because they literally quote modern game audience. So, that makes it a failure. And it's set to be coming to PC and the Series XS platforms on December 9th of this year is what it sounds like. I think the reasoning is retarded because he actually does use guns in the movies. Humorously, but he's used them. But realistically, it doesn't make sense because Indiana Jones is by no means like a solid snake to infiltrate stuff. I mean, the article even gave the example that he's actually a clumsy archaeologist. So if you're trying to set this up to where he's like some awesome, like, Splinter Cell sort of stealth person or, solid snake, you're doing like, even that isn't doing it justice. Like, he's an average dude. Okay. Diana Jones in the woke circle. I know. Oh, brother. This is not good. Sounds not good at all, which is unfortunate. What else do we have on here? Oh, yeah, I saw this too. Japanese fans unhappy with Square Enix's decision to censor female. We saw this. Let's check this out. So everyone... Oh my gosh. Japanese fans unhappy with Square Enix's decision to censor female characters in Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. Everyone involved should apologize at Akira Toriyama's grave. Ouch. Grain. Like their Western counterpart, Japanese fans are furious over the discovery that Square Enix's upcoming Dragon Quest III HD 2D has censored legendary series artist Akira Toriyama's original female characters. So in addition to the previously reported changes made to the game's female warrior variant, which see her given both a tan shirt and a pair of shorts to wear under her armor, a recent batch of screenshots has confirmed that Square Enix will also be censoring the design of the female's gadabout class. Oh, what? They pulled that up more? So in the upcoming remake, the blonde bombshell sees her collars and cuffs replaced with an armband, the pointed top of her corset being given an extra piece of fabric to cover her cleavage, and the once high cut of her bodysuit expanded to cover her thighs. Further, her alcohol bottle accessory no longer bears its whiskey label, instead appearing as nothing more than an unlabeled brown jug. As of writing, it is unknown whether it contains any actual alcohol or something more child-friendly. Ferndly? Oh my gosh. Terrible misspelling of friendly here, bounding into comics, like hot sauce or milkshakes. Notably, while the first change was ostensibly done to make her legally distinct from the official copyright Playboy Bunny outfit. The latter two are clear acts of what can only be described as puritanical censorship. To no one's surprise, upon their reveal, Square Enix censored female designs were met with a wave of backlash from the franchise's Japanese fan base, with many even going so far as to declare the warrior and Gadabout's updated appearance as being outright disrespectful to the late Toriyama's legacy. So you've got some screenshots here. Why are you doing this? Why would they do this to a female warrior in a remake of Dragon's Quest III, one of the milestones of the Japanese bikini armor culture? Everyone involved should apologize at Akira Toriyama's grave. If you're going to give in to the political correctness, don't do it with his designs. I would say don't do it in general. And people who have a problem with it can go piss off. Yeah, like right there. I mean, look at that. Straight up masculine type figure. The Dragon Quest III remake, they had the original design of the female warrior, but they deliberately made her wear underwear and censorship and changed the design, wrote someone else. Don't you think that's disrespectful and rude to Akira Toriyama? Yeah, that's what this one person said. So other person said, it's no wonder people say that changing female warrior's costume is an insult to Toriyama Sensei's design. I'm sure there are restrictions due to the times. Well, yeah, but the times we are in today are bullshit. And it's being ran by a bunch of people who don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they're listening to a very small fringe minority. Dragon's Quest 3 sounds tasty. Just at this point, just play the OG, or hope that some modder will fix it. I don't mind the reduced exposure of the female warrior in 3 remake, but couldn't something be done about the fact that she is so devastatingly lame? Toriyama Sensei is going to be mad about this. Others questioned why, given the fact that the female warrior made her debut earlier this year in the Dragon's Quest Walk remake mobile game, wearing a costume more closely in line with her original appearance. Square Enix chose to institute this bit of censorship in the first place. Rather than putting on some weird skin color cloth, I think they were able to create a cool, curvaceous design while increasing the skin area with armor, like in Dragon's Quest Walk. So this person pointed out. Oh, this one? Yeah, I mean, that one looks better. But yeah, they're straight up once again, trying to make the female have more masculine features. This person also pointed out the fact that the Walk version did a good job. Yeah, see, that looks fine. There's nothing wrong with this. No. What the hell does that one mean? In a bit of unfortunate pixelated hilarity, others still couldn't help but point out that thanks to Square Enix redesign, the female warrior's in-game sprite now looks like it was sporting a massive set of male genitalia. It's cute and looks like a penis. Oh, that thing? Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. Definitely could have made something a tad bit better in that design. Sorry, but in the pixel art, it looks like there's a big dick attached. Oh, leave it to the internet to point out that stuff. And that the current Dragon's Quest 3 HD 2 remake is currently on track to hit shelves November 14th. But yeah, once again, censorship has struck. It's garbage. It's bullshit. And it really needs to stop. All right, so this one's kind of like the main one that I saw today that I find hilarious. Activist organization that encouraged game developers to denounce gamers is now begging for $80,000 in order to remain open. Dude, get wrecked and read the writings on the wall. You scum. The activist organization Take This, that has received significant funding from the United States government, is now begging its followers to give them $80,000 in order to keep its doors open. The organization was brought into the public eye when it posted a blog post back in March encouraging game developers to denounce gamers for defending themselves from Sweet Baby Inc. The organization stated, if you're reading this, you've probably been hearing about what's now being called Gamergate 2. It's the latest target harassment campaign within the game industry, and it's aimed at Sweet Baby Inc., a Montreal-based narrative development studio. As previously covered, this is a lie. The initial harassment campaign was led by Sweet Baby Inc. and its employees Chris Kindred and Maya Kramer against Brazilian gamer Cabrutus Rambo for creating a Steam curator list documenting the games that Sweet Baby Inc. worked on. These Sweet Baby Inc. employees could not tolerate the Steam curator list and attempted to get Cabrutus canceled and even trying to get Valve, Steam's parent company, to effectively steal his game library. 80K, no way. Oh, yes. See, this is why the government doesn't deserve to give money to these people. Because they waste it all away by calling people bigots and then bitch and whine about it when no one buys their stuff and they have to close. So Kindred posted on X, the Steam curator harassment group, Sweet Baby Inc. detected, is led by this person, Cabrutus Rambo. Here's them trying to be slick so they don't get reported. Even with discriminatory language filed off, the group itself still fails a code of conduct. And yet, it didn't. So, haha. And next, Kindred wrote, anyway, report the fuck out of this group. Finally, Kindred concluded, and report the curator since he loves his account so much. Nevertheless, despite pushing an easily refuted lie, the organization then demanded developers denounce gamers opposed to Sweet Baby Inc. and their goals of injecting the objectively evil ideology of wokeness into video games. The organization wrote, you may be inclined to be quiet or cautious, but that's not actually helpful. As noted in our resource, Empowering the Gaming Community, more like bastardizing the gaming community. A major lesson learned from Gamergate was the importance of taking a loud public stance. Take This concluded, at the time, many studios were hesitant to address the hate and abuse from Gamergate in a meaningful way. The reasons varied, but usually this hesitation was born out of fear of losing profits or concern that taking a stance would attract the attention of the Gamergate mob. It then inserted, in other words, failure to clearly and unequivocally denounce Gamergate and harassment and abuse done in its name created a space for that hate and abuse to flourish, spread, and becoming normalized. No, the problem is that never existed. I'm sure there were some fringe people there, but the problem is that it never existed. In fact, you guys are the ones that spread and flourished and normalized a space because you saw a space that was not politically correct in your point of view and progressive enough. So you infiltrated it, you hijacked it, you took over, and then you started to gatekeep out of it while projecting all of your insecurities onto the people that you said are attacking you. Hate, harassment, and toxic behavior have no place in games. You have no place in games. By taking direct, targeted action in a timely manner, we can mitigate further harm to talented, dedicated folks in games. They're not talented. The only dedication they are is to be the DEI hire and help prevent additional reoccurrences of these harmful events. The post concluded. Less than 6 months after this post, the organization research director Rachel Court resigned from her position. As reported by Ars Technica's Ashley Belanger, Court also founded the organization after encountering a 2019 nationally representative survey from ADL. It found that nearly 1 in 4 respondents were exposed to extreme right primacy ideology in online gaming. Oh my gosh. Getting a lot of inquiries about this post, meaning I'm leaving games. I'm not leaving games. I just resigned from my former position. To no one's surprise, she admitted in a Gamer UX 2022 presentation, which was sponsored by Bungie, that the original polling she encountered that inspired her to start the organization was completely bogus. Ow. She said in 2019, the Anti-Defamation League reported that nearly 1 in 4 was 23% of game players are exposed to white supremacist ideology in games. This, of course, being undefinable, but given the definition of anybody that disagrees with us is a white supremacist definition. That's usually what they always do. And she continued, and honestly, somebody asked me earlier how I got into this work because it seems like a very niche area, but it was this report. And when I saw that, I thought that number is so high, it can't be that high. It can't possibly be that high. And then she called someone. He was like, no, that's the number. Okay, we have to do something about that. That's terrifying. Okay. Then in 2021, they did another report, and they found the number was closer to 1 in 10. But it's unclear whether this is actually a change in the landscape or just difference in sampling, as it is with research sometimes. Or, as sometimes with research, it's completely biased. So not only did Cohort resign from her position, but the entire organization is now begging for $80,000 in order to keep it afloat. So Rafael Bocamazzo wrote, "This might be the most bittersweet post I've ever written in my tenure with Take This. You may have noticed our plea for financial support earlier this year. As hard as we worked to make up that gap, we still need significant help. Without your support, Take This and all of our impactful programs will cease to exist." Good. You should cease to exist, because you do more harm than good. After listing out what he views as the organization's accomplishment, he stated, "If we don't raise it by the end of September," it is the 11th, "all of this will disappear." Good. And it received a split of nearly $700,000 in grant money from the Department of Homeland Security through its Targeted Violence and Terrorism Prevention Grant Program. What? How do they get, so dumb. Anyway. So over the past decade, video games have increasingly become focal points of social activity and identity creation for adolescents and young adults. Relationships made and fostered within game ecosystems routinely cross over into the real world and are in fact impactful parts of local communities. Define crossing over into the real world. That's what I want to know. Correspondingly, extremists have used video games and targeted video game communities for activities ranging from propaganda creation to terrorist mobilization and training. This sounds like a bunch of bullshit. Game developers in general, from small independent studios to billion-dollar multinational corporation. You want to know what's actually a truth? Because I actually did look up and the research in it. People who play video games are really good when it comes to being in the military and controlling the drones and stuff, or doing well in surgery, because surgery nowadays use computers. This joint project, or game developers in general, from small independent studios to billion-dollar multinational corporations, have lagged in awareness of how extremists may attempt to explore their games and how their communities can be targeted for radicalization. I'm sorry, but it's not, to me, it's not these corporations' problems that is some extreme weirdo gets some wrong idea about stuff. Gosh, it's just telling a damn story. Yeah, but then stuff like, Dustborn, that was totally fine, even though the powers you use are little cancel culture, and everything they say that we do is the powers that they used in the game. So dumb. So this joint practice from the Center of Terrorist Extremism and Counterterrorism, Take This, logically seeks to develop a shared framework for understanding extremism in games. This includes the development of a set of best practices and centralized resources for monitoring and evaluation of extremist activities. So they're treating, to me, this sounds like they're trying to be what the movie rating system, which is also disgustingly biased and bullshit. Like, look up the film, look up the documentary, This Film Is Not Yet Rated. You'll learn about the movie rating system, how bullshit it is. This just sounds like the same thing. So they're saying by giving us money, we develop a good set of practices and centralized resources for monitoring and evaluation, and then provide training workshops for the monitoring, detection, and prevention of extremist exploitation in gaming spaces for community managers, multiplayer designs, lore developers, mechanical designers, and trust and safety personals. What do any of these people have to do to like an extremist getting a wrong idea? If that person is extreme, he's extreme. He's a problem. Mo Hauer said it best. If your child's a problem child, it doesn't matter if they watch the Three Stooges and get ideas of like eye poking and slapping. No different than watching a Western and going and getting a gun. Gosh, this is so fucking dumb. What do you make of take this begging for funding in order to keep the organization afloat? I take it as, well, desperation, obviously. And they're actually extremists because they're actually using the government to weaponize their retarded sense of safety and stuff like that to infiltrate the gaming system, to not prevent it from like these extremists that they're claiming exist in there, but to be the extremists themselves and gatekeep anybody who disagrees with them. So dumb. But on a more positive note, let's check out what games were released today. A big one that I noticed was Breath of Fire. I heard that one's really good. So that was released today on September 11. Axlay. Apparently that got some good ratings. What kind of game is this? So like a run and gun or a shoot 'em up sort of game? Kind of like, that's cool. So you got that there. Danger Girl. I just like the name of that one. That one. What else do we got? Anything else that stands out? Double Dragon Neon. I thought that one didn't really do so hot. Goblin Sword for iOS. Oh, here you go. Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm Revolution. Extremist Star. Gay. Like, the only extremist out there was like Christ, and he could be extreme because he's truth, you know. Christ was very, it's either this or this, like view set, because that was the word. He was literally the word, you know, made flesh, as scripture said. And of course we got Marvel vs. Capcom The Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, which also had some censor bullshit in there. We have your Super Mario Maker. Very cool. We'll hop over to Moby Games. See what we got here. They have a longer list. Let's see. Apparently Mortal Kombat 4, the arcade version, was released. Cool. Ooh, Prince of Persia Collection. I don't think it's the one like the PS2 one. I think it's the OG ones. Got your Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. Some One Piece. NHL 09. Another NHL. Double Dragon Neon, like we pointed out. Nothing too revolutionary, I guess you could say. Some stuff, but unfortunately not a whole lot of ones. I'm just pointing out some that like I kind of like I haven't really played per se, but I've seen it. Yeah, we're getting into 2020 here. Nothing new. Well, there you go. But, yep, that's the show for tonight. So thanks again, you guys, for hanging out. Again, never forget September 11th. Terrible, terrible day in history for the U.S. And, my thoughts and prayers are with the families out there. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Turn on notifications to get notified when I go live. And you can find my other social media listed in the description below. We are on YouTube, Rumble, and Kick. And you can follow me over there as well. Thanks for your guys' support. You guys have a good rest of your night. Take care. God bless. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.